This is Sky News at 5, our top stories. Violence in Spain as the government cracks down on an independence referendum for Catalonia, which it declared illegal. More than 460 people are injured as police use force to stop people voting. But thousands defy the Spanish authorities to have their say. We'll have the latest live from Barcelona. Also this hour...
Is Boris Johnson going to keep his job, Mrs May?
Get a grip.
Do you think he's after your job?
Theresa May says her cabinet is fully behind her as Brexit rows overshadow the opening of the Conservative conference in Manchester. 2 women are killed by a knifeman in a suspected terror attack at a train station in Marseille. The future of Monarch Airlines is in doubt as it awaits a decision on whether it can keep its tour operator's licence. And former American football star O.J. Simpson walks free from prison after serving 9 years for armed robbery. A very good evening to you. The Spanish government had promised the independence vote in Catalonia wouldn't go ahead. But thousands of Catalans have turned out to vote on a day marred by violent clashes. Police fired rubber bullets at crowds. Catalan officials say at least 460 people have been injured. Catalonia's leader condemned the police violence and said it created a terrible image of Spain. Sky's Adele Robinson has this report.
This was a show of force from the Spanish authorities to help tensions. In the face of force, even more passion has been evoked, and it's not going anywhere. Adele Robinson, Sky News.
Well, let's get more on this now. Mark Stone joins us live from Barcelona. Mark, incredibly violent scenes in that report there, but the Spanish government insisting this referendum is illegal and that their response is proportionate.
Yes, I wonder whether whoever it was that made that statement has actually had time to absorb what the police on their behalf have been doing here in Barcelona.
All right, Mark, thanks ever so much for that update there. And of course, that's a story that's likely to feature prominently in tomorrow's newspapers. We'll be taking a first look at those at 10:30 tonight with the Daily Mirror columnist Susie Boniface and the author and broadcaster Bobby Friedman. The Conservative Party conference is underway, but the Prime Minister's policies are being overshadowed by a row over Britain's exit from the European Union. Theresa May has insisted her cabinet is united over Brexit and that the Foreign Secretary, Boris Johnson, backs her plans. The meeting in Manchester comes as a review was published by Sir Eric Pickles into what went wrong for the party in June's snap election. But Boris Johnson arrived at the conference in the last few minutes or so, swiftly followed by the Chancellor Philip Hammond, and a warning of flash photography that is coming up here. Our senior political correspondent Jason Farrell reports now from Manchester.
Mr. Prime Minister approved your speech, Foreign Secretary. Are you right behind Theresa May? Have you come looking for a new job, Foreign Secretary? Hello. Foreign Secretary, he's sacked. Boris, be sacked, Chancellor. Boris, be sacked. Boris, be sacked.
Theresa May walks into a febrile atmosphere here in Manchester. It's Boris. This is the other background to conference. An energised opposition was out on the streets of Manchester. Most of all, Theresa May needs to convince her party that she can face down growing confidence within the Labour Party. Jason Farrell, Sky News, Manchester.
Well, away from internal politics and cabinet squabbles, the Conservatives attempted to reach out to the youth vote today. Among a number of measures announced by the Prime Minister to help the young are a freeze on student tuition fees and an extension of the Help to Buy scheme. But are those enough to bring back some of the younger voters who deserted the party in June? Our correspondent Lisa Dowd has been speaking to people in Birmingham.
This wedding show is full of brides, optimistic about the future.
Coming up with at the time as well. That alone wouldn't make me vote Conservative.
The Conservatives may need many more sweeteners to secure their happy ending. Lisa Dowd, Sky News, Birmingham.
Well, let's go live to Manchester now, and our chief political correspondent, John Craig. And John, it's been a very busy day. I suppose one of the highlights had to be Ruth Davidson, who really set the conference alight.
It was very much the highlight, a typically barnstorming speech by the woman who many Tories would like to be Conservative Party leader at some point. She stamped on that pretty firmly today. First of all, at a fringe meeting where she talked about the Tory psychodrama. Are going to be dragged into that crisis in Catalonia with the PM and the Foreign Secretary in the last few minutes being urged by the Labour and Lib Dem leaders to intervene in that crisis there in Catalonia in a bid to end the violence. OK,
John, thanks for that update. 2 women have been killed after a man attacked people with a knife at Marseille train station. The French Interior Ministry said the attacker was shot dead following the incident at Saint-Charles railway station. Well, Sky's Caterina Vitozzi joins me now, and just bring us up to date with the details, if you will.
Yes, well, this attack happened at around 1:30 local time, as you said, Saint-Charles train station in Marseille, the train station right in the heart of the city, which is in the south of France. Police confirmed that 2 women were stabbed at the station by a man. The attacker was shot and killed by soldiers at the scene and quite soon after the attack. As you can see from these pictures, there was at the time, and there remains, a heightened police cordon. The station was evacuated, and police say they are treating this as a terrorist attack. The French Interior Minister, Gérard Cornbel, said that he has travelled to Marseille. He's meeting with police chiefs there. And what they are looking at now are the motives. Who was this man and what is the motive behind the attack? They want to confirm if it indeed was a terrorist attack. Early reports coming in about the attacker. These are unconfirmed from unconfirmed police sources. They say it was a man in his late 20s who was heard, according to one eyewitness, to shout "Allahu Akbar" before the attack. Local media also reporting that the man was known to local authorities for common law crimes. Some reaction also coming from the French Prime Minister, who says that the fact that the security forces were able to neutralise this suspect so quickly shows that the heightened French security operation, Operation Sentinel, which has been in place since the 2015 attack in Paris, which killed more than 100 people, is working. It is helping to keep people safe, and that, according to Edouard Philippe, the French Prime Minister, we will never let our guard down.
Indeed, and France no stranger to these attacks. Thanks ever so much. You're watching Sky News. Coming up, a free man, O.J. Simpson, is released from jail after serving 9 years for attempted armed robbery. We'll have the latest on that after this break.
Then Sky Store now.
Welcome back. You're watching Sky News. Let's cross over now to Jamie and find out what's coming up in the sports.
Thanks, Rebecca. We'll have the latest from Newcastle against Liverpool. It's half-time at St James's Park. A goal apiece there. Stunning goal from Philippe Coutinho as well.
Now, O.J. Simpson has become a free man after serving 9 years in prison for attempted armed robbery. The former American football star was released from the Nevada jail where he'd been held after a botched hotel heist in Las Vegas. He walked out in the middle of the night, avoiding the huge media attention which might have surrounded the event. Our US correspondent Greg Milam has been following the story.
Just after midnight, at a table in a prison in the desert, O.J. Simpson signs the papers that confirm his release. The bidding for the first interview with him is expected to reach $5 million. Greg Milam, Sky News, Los Angeles.
Joins us live now from LA. And Greg, he's a free man, but I imagine there's going to be a lot of people out there wanting to tell his story.
Yeah, there are, and I mentioned that figure that's being mooted. That's coming from his side, that those representatives of his who are speaking to particularly US TV networks that you saw at the beginning of my report, and they know the interest is huge. One big problem he has is that move to Florida, because the paperwork hasn't been filed. The authorities in Florida are not keen on having him living there. There's not much they can do about it, but it could delay that process and drag out this continuing soap opera of the life of O.J. Simpson. OK,
thanks ever so much. Appreciate that. Well, let's take a look at the weather now, shall we?
Ensuring brighter days ahead. Blue Insurance Car Insurance.
proud sponsors of Sky News Weather.
Northern parts will be very windy with widespread blustery showers tomorrow, but the south will be mostly fine, although there will be rain near to the channel later on. Before then, many places will have a fine if windy evening, but there'll be squally showers in the north, mainly over Scotland. The north will see showers developing more widely overnight, running in on potentially disruptive winds gusting to over 70 miles an hour in places. The south, of course, will stay mainly dry.
Blue Insurance Car Insurance, proud sponsors of Sky News Weather.
This is Sky News coming up. After a promise of no violence during today's independence referendum, we'll speak to the Spanish Foreign Minister about events in Catalonia. You're watching Sky News. Our top stories. Spanish police have fired rubber bullets at crowds as a vote on Catalan independence takes place. The regional leader calls it unjustifiable violence. The Spanish government says the police acted in a proportionate manner. As the Conservative Party conference gets underway, the Prime Minister's policies for young voters are being overshadowed by suggestions of cabinet disunity over Brexit. 2 women have died after a man attacked people with a knife at Marseille train station in the south of France. The attacker was shot dead by security services. But let's get more now on our top story and the violence in Catalonia as the Spanish region carried out a referendum on independence today. Our correspondent Mark Stone joins us from Barcelona now. And Mark, the authorities said this referendum wouldn't go ahead. They said it was illegal, but yet today people have turned out in their millions.
Yes, an extraordinary day, a very difficult day for Catalonia, a difficult day for Spain on Sky News. So this is the scene here. If we spin the camera around and have a little look at the people who are here waiting to vote. Some of them have already voted. And I imagine that they will be here late into the night. I'll leave it there and hand back to you.
OK, thank you ever so much for that, Mark. You can see the scenes there. In Barcelona, of course, we will keep you updated with the situation there throughout the evening. But let's get more now on the Conservative Party conference, which has started in Manchester with further claims of division in the Cabinet. Well, the Prime Minister laughed off questions about whether Boris Johnson is sackable as Foreign Secretary after he intervened yet again in the Brexit debate. Well, joining me now live from Manchester is the Home Office Minister Brandon Lewis. Thanks ever so much for your time this evening. First things first then, Theresa May has been adamant that her Cabinet is united, but recent events suggest it's anything but.
Well, look, I sit round the Cabinet table with my colleagues and I was there the day before the Florence speech. We were all united in everything the Prime Minister was outlining in that speech, which builds on what she said at Lancaster House. And this is a Prime Minister who has, after a referendum where we all within our own party on different sides of that debate, is bringing people together and delivering a Brexit that works for this country, and we fully support her in doing that.
You're towing the party line, clearly, but Boris Johnson is meddling and undermining her authority, isn't he? Should she sack him?
Well, actually, if you look at what Boris has actually been saying, it is entirely in line with what the Prime Minister outlined in the Florence speech. And that is something that all of us in the Cabinet, I sat in that meeting with my colleagues, including Boris, fully supporting that. And Boris himself has been very clear about supporting Theresa May as our Prime Minister, delivering a good Brexit for the United Kingdom.
OK, the highlight today for me had to be Ruth Davidson. She started with a joke. She really got the crowds going there. Do the Conservatives need a leader like her as a whole, with that kind of charisma?
Well, Ruth had a fantastic speech today, really well received. I think it highlights part of why we've had that success of building and delivering in Scotland, getting that result that was quite a surprise to so many people, gaining seats we've never won before. And she's doing a fantastic job doing that. And again, has herself been very clear about the fact that as the UK government, united behind Theresa May as our Prime Minister, our focus has to be on delivering for people across the generations, across the country, not just on a good Brexit deal, but on that domestic agenda of seeing real social change that delivers for people both young and old.
Well, yeah, we've seen these policies outlined today for the youth, but immigration is a big thing. When will net migration be down to the tens of thousands?
Well, as I said before on your channel itself, actually, we've always been very clear about the fact that this is a long-term ambition. We want to see immigration come down to sustainable levels. We've seen it fall over the last year by over 80,000 coming down, and we've got to continue that work around making sure that people who are coming to this country have a fantastic welcome as they contribute, play an important part of our country, actually an important part in delivering that vibrant economy we want to continue to see, and making sure that they're the people who should be here in a proper and appropriate way to give us all confidence, particularly as we leave the European Union and take back control of our borders.
Right, yes, but it's still not down to the tens of thousands. Thanks ever so much for your thoughts tonight. Appreciate
And as I
your
said,
time.
that's a long-term piece of work.
Fair enough. Thank you. Well, let's get a check on all the action from today's sports, shall we?
This sports bulletin is brought to you by Vitality.
Sorry.
For life insurance that rewards healthy living.
Hello again, Formula One action on the way, but we start with the live game in the Premier League. Liverpool are plenty more Premier League reaction across on Sky Sports News. We'll have more for you at 6:20.
For life insurance that rewards healthy living. Vitality.
You're watching Sky News. Coming up, we've got all the latest from Barcelona as voting continues in a banned independence referendum. Despite the violence, we're now hearing 460 people have been injured. We'll have the latest on that coming up after the break.